Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I want to talk a little bit more about mental health and wellness because last week I feel like I didn't say everything that I wanted to say. There's just a little more. And if there's more in the future, I'll do another video. But for now, this is it. Um, I want to focus right now on the the idea that being broken doesn't mean that you deserve to be thrown away. There's a Japanese art called kintsugi, which is like putting a pot back together, and instead of putting it back together in a way that makes it look like it was never broken, you fill the cracks with gold, so you can see where the damage was. And yet it's still fixed, it still functions, but we're also not hiding the fact that it was cracked. And I think that the light gets in through the cracks. So the nice thing about that is that it shows that it can be seen as beautiful. You could actually look at kintsugi and think that it's more beautiful than it was before because it's personalized now. It's not just, on an assembly line, the same thing. Now it's unique. Things like rarely break in the exact same way, like a snowflake. It's unique. And that's what makes it special. You're you. You have all these experiences, all these things that have happened to you, and you may think of it as something that you're a victim of. But the truth is, everything life throws at you, regardless of what the intent of the thrower was. Maybe the thrower is a teacher who's trying to teach you how to take care of yourself and become stronger. Maybe it's someone who has it out for you and doesn't have your best interest at heart. Regardless, no matter what the intention is, you always have the ability to take it and catch what's thrown at you, and life throws you lemons, you turn it into lemonade. I didn't even realize I was about to say that. Um, it's so true though. I mean, these are common phrases and they're often forgotten about and not really used in a context that sends a powerful message. I think that when people say these things, it's like you've heard it so many times it doesn't mean anything anymore. Um, but it's true. You can absolutely take what's thrown at you and turn it into something positive. Alchemy, transforming something dark into something light. We all have that ability, and we don't have to just sit there with lemons being thrown at us and just say, life's throwing me lemons. You can pick up those lemons, you can squeeze them, and you can start selling lemonade. It's not that hard, actually. Everything that you need is at your disposal. Even if you think you're in a completely situation where there's nothing you can do. I know people who, I mean, I know people who got like kicked out of their house at like 14, 16, different ages, and they took care of themselves. It's not easy. Nothing in life is easy. And a lot of it isn't fair. Doesn't mean the situation is okay. Doesn't mean that it should have happened. What it means is that no matter what the situation is, you never have to see yourself as a victim. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to get justice if someone did do you dirty, if the person wasn't trying to teach you something. And even if they were trying to teach you something, were they unethical, You can always try to get justice, but don't let it bring you down. Don't let it lower your vibration when you're trying to get justice. Don't be spending all your time in court fighting over something like silly. Just focus on yourself, stay on your own path, and you will be surprised how you just excel. You just go so fast, and you don't even care what's going on around you because you're focused on where you're going. There's enough going on in your life. And I think what people struggle with is they don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to focus on where they're going because that would require them facing a lot of really hard truths. My channel trailer, it's called Can You Love Yourself Too Much? My channel trailer might help with that because it's about the idea that we think we're afraid of being too forgiving of ourselves, that we think that if we love ourselves too much we'll become a narcissist and we'll just start forgiving all this behavior that's unforgivable on our own part. Like we'll think, oh, well, it doesn't matter that I ran that person over with my car. That's their problem. They shouldn't have been in the street. And then you just keep going. You're not going to become like that. I mean, can you even picture yourself in a situation like that? It's ridiculous. You don't have to worry about becoming that way if you aren't already that way, because clearly you care about other people. You just don't care about yourself enough to understand that you can't love yourself too much. The trick is, can you love yourself enough to hold yourself accountable and know that that's okay? Know that you're safe. Know that you're not in danger, that the world isn't going to end if you did something wrong. There's not someone threatening you with a knife, saying if you do one wrong move, they're going to stab you. I mean, unless that is what's happening, but you would know. And most people are actually perfectly safe, and all they're missing is trust that if they do the right thing and they own up when they do the wrong thing, everything will be fine. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be imperfect. There's no such thing as perfect. All you have to do is let go of the fear and the judgment. So that video will help you with that, or at least it should. Um, but yeah, you got to be able to stay in your lane and focus on where you're going. And you're not going to be able to do that if you're afraid to look at hard truths about yourself. Things you've done, things about like the way you look, it can be very hard. It's a whole journey learning how to love yourself. But no, you cannot love yourself too much. You deserve love. That's never going to change. And you're good enough, no matter what you tell yourself, no matter what anyone tells you. And I also just want to give a bit of quick advice because I think this is kind of related. Your time and energy and attention is valuable, and if someone is asking for it, it should not be for free. It shouldn't. If someone thinks that they are entitled to talk to you on the phone, or get a text back from you, or have you show up to a party, they just simply are not. You can always say no to any occasion, any phone call, anything, and you don't need a reason. Not wanting to is enough because it's an exchange, you know? You should be getting something out of it too, unless there's actually money involved. But even then, you can say that I still don't want it. You have a right to not take money. Just because someone offers you money doesn't mean they can make you do whatever they want. If you don't want the money, like I'll give you an example. There isn't any amount of money in the world that someone could pay me to compromise my integrity. Someone said, "Murder this innocent person. I'll give you $2 billion." I would say, "No, keep it. I'm not doing that. If I'm meant to have $2 billion, I will find an ethical way to obtain it. So keep it." And there are a lot of people who just would take that money and shoot the person, even if they didn't know who they were, and move on with their day because that's tempting. It's a lot of money. And we live in a world where people are kind of like fight or flight mode all the time, like this dog eat dog cynical mentality of looking at things like every man for himself. But you have to relax. It's not that dark. There is darkness, and people are behaving very dark, but the light is there too. It's not pitch black. And when you start noticing the light, you can see it everywhere, and it's the only thing that's going to help you see clearly. So get all the noise and nonsense out of your head, and you'll actually be able to see the darkness within you and not judge it for being there. Know that it's okay. You can take care of it. You can clear it out. You can do whatever you need to do. You can face traumatic experiences that happen to you, dark thoughts that you've had, things that you've been through. It's okay to look at it and face it and cry about it. Um, so it's okay to say no. It's okay to not be available. You don't owe anybody your time or attention, no matter what. So, unless you're contractually obligated to like show up at a place, um, but even then, you should always reserve the right to just not be available. So don't be unethical. Don't just decide that you don't want to show up to work if you were on the schedule. If you're already on the schedule, be considerate. You're inconveniencing someone else. Don't just not show up. However, know that you are always allowed to quit. I still think you should give 2 weeks notice, but I don't think that's a legal requirement. So it's just a matter of consideration. But if they're being inconsiderate to you, I don't know. It kind of just depends on the situation. I personally wouldn't do it, but it's just a matter of how considerate you are. And I think that paying attention to the way you treat others is a huge factor in how healthy you are mentally, because you're not going to want to treat others badly if you really are just focused on getting where you're going. You're like, okay, I gotta get where I'm going. I don't have time for spite or petty drama. I don't have time to be angry at someone or do something just because I'm mad at them. I'm too busy with where I actually want to be. And then you may be worried, but what if, because I'm so focused, what if my goal is to get a certain amount of money and then I might shoot someone because I was offered that amount of money? That's where integrity comes in. You have to learn why things matter. And, I also have videos to talk about that. This channel is called Philosophical Psychology because I think that psychology and philosophy are closely related. I think that, you know, what makes something right or wrong is important to understand if you're going to give someone any kind of psychological advice, because morality is related to psychological development. You can't just you can't really necessarily determine what makes it improvement. If you're saying that, um, oh, he's doing better, he's really gotten a lot better, this narcissist is no longer a narcissist. Well, why is it bad to be a narcissist? In order to determine that, you need philosophy. You need to, like moral philosophy, you need to decide what makes something right or wrong. Why is it wrong to think that the world exists just to serve you? Why is it wrong to manipulate people? There's a lot going on there from a psychological standpoint, and it is important to incorporate philosophy so that you really understand everything that's going on. So that's what I try my best to do. Not in every video, but I think it happens just organically. So I'm going to wrap this up. I don't want this to be too long. But if you have any questions, as always, go ahead and ask in the comments if you need clarification. The last thing that I want to say is, if you are interested in doing shadow work, if you're interested in looking at yourself, there are a lot of videos on my channel that could help with that. And there are a lot of other resources that have nothing to do with me that can help you with that. All you have to really do is be willing to start. Just be willing to try. Get out of your own way with the whole "it's easier said than done" thing. Everything is easier said than done. Literally everything. I mean, uh, the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that's easier to say than it is to do is fall in love with someone. Um, you know, or sorry, easier to do than it is to say. It's easy to fall in love with someone. It's hard to say that you're in love with them. I'll grant you that. But how many other things are easier done than said? Most things are easier said than done, so it's kind of pointless to say that. And when you say that, what you're really saying is, I'm not even going to try. So you've already given up. Don't do that to yourself. It's worth it. It is possible, and there's a million other things that you thought you couldn't do that you ended up doing. So you got this. By the way, I apologize if I already said that. I did another take where I said that, and I don't remember if it was this take. I don't edit my videos, so it's all one take. Sometimes I may or may not repeat things that I can't remember which take I said it in. So if that was this take and I said it twice, I apologize for wasting your time, but at least I've explained it. I don't think it was, though. I think I deleted the take that was from. So anyway, have a great rest of your day or night. I hope this video was helpful. I know that it was a little bit disorganized, but nevertheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. I upload every Tuesday at noon Eastern Time.